Hello guys, how are we doing? Welcome back to the channel. Season 3 is finally upon us with some controversial and some long overdue changes to Black Ops 6 ranked play. The full patch notes will be down in the description below if you want to check out things that maybe relate to zombies, Warzone or other multiplayer bits and bobs. And as I say, we're going to be covering the things that only relate to ranked play to save you having to trawl through all of the patch notes, and which obviously you're going to get in the description below. The ranked play servers are going to be down when this video goes live, I believe, and for those of you who are wondering when it's going to be up, it's usually a couple of hours after the season actually goes live. So if you log on and you've got Season 3 live on your screen, but you can't seem to find ranked play, don't worry, your game's not broken. That's just how it works at the beginning of most seasons. Sometimes they do it a little bit earlier and maybe just in time with the season, but if it happens to be late, don't worry, your game's fine. It's just how it sometimes works. Before we get into the patch notes, obviously there's a bunch of things we're going to be covering today, such as weapon adjustments, movement changes, SR adjustments, the way they tackle cheaters and those sort of things. But we're going to be kicking it off with the Season 3 setback. Now, this hasn't changed, but just a reminder for all of you, if you're a bronze or silver, your SR will not be impacted at all. You will stay the rank you were when Season 2 finished, so good news. Gold to platinum players will only go back to tier 1 of their rank. So if you were a plat 3 or plat 2, you'll go down to plat 1, and the same goes for gold. And then finally, anyone who's diamond above, whether you've just got into diamond 1 or you're all the way to number 1 in the top 250, everyone with it between that will go all the way back to down to diamond 1 to give everyone a fair start at the beginning of the season to get to that top 250 level, which does, unfortunately, for those of you who have just managed to get into diamond 1, you're going to be playing probably players that are of a higher caliber, maybe, although matchmaking is, as we know, based mostly on the hidden MMR, which we all know and love. Demotion protection, we will be having the first 3 losses in Season 3 are not going to count, so it gives you a little bit of a leeway going into the season. So if you find your first 3 games a bit sweaty and you lose your first 3 games, you're actually not going to go down any SR as a result. And of course, you get your 1 free loss per day, as we have done in the past, which I'm actually here for. I actually enjoy that. It's quite nice, a little bit of a warm-up game, and you don't get torched because of that for your SR. We're now going to be going into the weapon adjustments. So there's not many guns in ranked play. There are going to be new guns added this season. The Kilo and the AMAX are 2 new ARs, or an AR conversions, you could say, for the AMAX. That they're going to pull in for the Warzone. They may be tested in rank. The Cypher was tested last season, but I wouldn't hold your breath. No gun that has been tested since the launch of this game has been added into Black Ops 6 ranked play. We love the Jackal, we love the ammos, although it is a bit boring. They're the fairest ones for the competitive experience. So although there might be new guns, don't necessarily imagine them seeing in ranked play at all. The guns we do have, the GPR has had a slight nerf, really slight nerf, in the fact that it's reduced visual recoil. Nothing other than that, it's completely unchanged. So the ammos is still going to be the better AR to use, and I can't see anyone using the GPR unless they're doing a challenge for subs on Twitch, maybe. The Jackal has been nerfed quite significantly. Well, not significantly, but in many areas it has been nerfed. And I'm going to do a completely separate video once the new patch is live to just compare what the changes actually are. So make sure you keep your eye out for that when you want to know what actually has happened with the Jackal. But I'm going to give you a quick rundown now just so that you're aware and you're ready ahead of the time. So they've reduced the damage range slightly with the Jackal. They've reduced the headshot multiplier slightly as well, but what they have done at the furthest damage range, they've increased the damage you have by, or the damage the gun causes, by 1. And all that means is that time to kill is completely unchanged. There's no change in time to kill. It's just you're going to have to be a little bit closer than you were before. It's maybe a couple meters back than you were before to get that same time to kill. You've also got a slightly buffed slide and dived to fire times slightly, which is going to benefit the movement of the Jackal somewhat, and it already is the best in class movement, but it's going to be even better than the other subs to separate that out quite considerably, although it's only by 20 milliseconds here, 20 milliseconds there, so it's not really much of a difference, but might make it feel a little bit better. And then finally, the biggest nerf, which I think people are going to find a little bit frustrating, is the Jackals has had its not only its base recoil increased significantly, but it's also reduced the benefit you get normally by using the vertical and Ranger foregrip. And that's it. Now, quickly summary of that, because I know I've just talked through it quite quickly. Reduced damage ranges, increased headshot multiplier, but no real change in time to kill. buffed slide to fire and dive to fire times, and an increase in recoil. Now, why have they done this? I'm going to quickly read this little passage they've said on their blog. The Jackal is intended to have the best in-class handling and excellent mobility, which it obviously already is. After giving it some time with its current tuning, we feel that it's too versatile and limits SMG diversity. We're increasing the recoil and reducing the range of touch. The foregrip that improve horizontal recoil will also be less effective, as we've just said. On the flip side, it is receiving a minor improvement to headshot damage and its minimum range. And we're also updating the slide and dive to fire times to be above average for SMGs. Now, they say their goal for the adjustments is not to kill the Jackal completely, but they do not want to emphasize that they need to play to its strength. So it's not going to be the gun that kills quickest. The C9 probably is still going to be that gun, but it's going to be the one that is going to be really maneuverable. When you're moving around the map, you can react good with the Jackal than you could the C9, and that's why you're going to want to use it more than anything else. So yeah, Jackal Nerf, we'll see how it plays, and as I say, I'm going to do a deeper dive into that in another video for those of you who are interested in what the impact actually is. There have been some changes to movement. The crouch to stand speed has been increased by 15%, and the ADS crouch to stand speed has been increased by 39%. So there's some substantial, easy for me to say, some substantial changes and buffs to the speed in which you can go from crouch to stand, which might increase the amount of crouch spamming we see, which is not going to be as broken as snaking, but it's a weird change. I'm not sure why they're doing it, but again, I'm going to probably do a little bit of a video on this, just so we can see what the changes actually are, as well as the next thing that they've touched on movement, which is increased directional sprint animation blends for improved fluidity. So that's just more fluid omni movement. And then finally, there's a slight adjustment to slide in. Essentially, they've increased decreased the acceleration from the slide. You know, that little bump of burst of speed you get when you slide. They've decreased that, and they've also limited the duration of the slide that you can maximum get. So not huge changes to slides, but we're going to again see, and I'm going to do the full details in another video for you guys to see what the actual impact is of that too. Now, changes in rank play, I have touched on this very briefly in the previous video I did about Season 3, so I'm going to reel off it quite quickly. Obviously, if you have any questions, you can leave them down below, and I will be answering my comments today. Retrospective SR adjustments from cheaters will be given back to you. So essentially, when you play a cheater, you lose to said cheater, and then they get banned. As long as not too many time has passed, you will get the SR back if you have recently lost to a banned cheater. And the people who have been playing with that banned cheater may have their SR reduced, so it's going to make it a little bit more fair. Now, although it's not great, it'd be great if you couldn't play cheaters in the first place. I think that's a step in the right direction. They've understood they can't catch them all, but when the ones they can't catch, when they do, people who have been negatively affected from an SR perspective will be paid back, for example. There's also the rejoin feature. If you can rejoin within 5 minutes of being booted or being disconnected from a game, which is nice. Going to help maybe claw back some of the win. However, if you manage to join but you still lose, your teammates will get a reduced SR loss if they rejoin and still lose. Now, obviously, I imagine that'll only work if you're partied up with randoms. But if you're actually in a party with a 4-stack and that happens, I don't think you're going to get that little bit of SR forgiveness, because otherwise people can abuse that little disconnect feature just to get less SR for the team, or lose by less, or lose less SR for those losses. There's new maps, a few 6v6 maps that are coming this season. I'm not going to touch them too much. I did mention them in a previous video, hoping they test a couple of them. Some of them look potentially viable, so I'm hoping we see those enter the ranked play, just maybe as tests perhaps. And then finally, there's an update on crossplay where they've extended the function that we did have on multiplayer ranked play over to Warzone and regular pubs, which is actually lovely to see. It seems like Treyarch and Call of Duty, Activision, whatever you want to group them into, has liked the fact about that, what we've done to crossplay, and they like it so much they've put it across every game mode that they have currently on Black Ops 6. And that's pretty much going to do it. There's a bunch of other things that like rewards and things like that, and there are also other gun adjustments that will impact the public players of you guys, not necessarily ranked play. Obviously, that's only the Jackal and the GPR. But yeah, not a bad patch. It's pretty big for us ranked play players, considering we've got such a limited amount of the game we actually do play. I think there's a lot of steps in the right direction, but of course, I want to know your thoughts. Let me know what you think about today's patch down below. And of course, as I say, I will be doing a video solely focused on the nerfs to the Jackal and the movement changes we've got in today's patch as well. That'll do for me. See you in the next one. Ciao for now.
Mission goals are green. Dispatching team to mop up survivors.
All targets down. When can I expect a transfer?